Hi everyone. Today, on a very special occasion, 14th of February on Valentine's Day, I am joined here to have a quick conversation with my very dear friend Desiree. Desiree and I have known each other for over 4 years now, and so it's wonderful to sort of connect with her and have this conversation about purpose, life, and love on this very special day. Hi Desiree, how are you?
I'm very good, Raul. I'm very delighted to be back in Dubai and continue on to what we left off
Yes.
on our last conversation.
Amazing.
And just to inform people about how the world should be run and bring more love and peace and prosperity and teach people how to be still.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I remember, Desiree, that we met 4 years ago through common friends,
Yes.
and then we've been friends since then. And one of the things that really fascinated me about you was about your perspective towards life. With the kind of experience you have, you come from a family business background, but yet you've committed so much of your time to self-awareness, self-growth, spirituality as a whole. So I wanted to sort of start this conversation with you to understand fundamentally about a few elements of life that we all try to sort of practice, things like meditation, for example. And if you can sort of help me understand what is meditation for you, and how do you sort of practice that?
Where I came from and who I am now, we all have been stuck somewhere in our lives.
Right.
And we always try to find a way out, and we always want to change something. And we always pursue that the insanity that we have, doing the same exact thing and expecting a different result. And we go through life day after day until we hit bottom and realize, okay, I'm here right now. I cannot go forward, I cannot go backward, but I'm smart enough to turn myself around from all this chaotic and stress that I have in the world. So I was at a point in my life that I was at a low point, and I, by chance, I took up spirituality. Spirituality meaning living in now and enjoying life moment to moment. And through going through trainings and having my gurus, and I worked with the Buddhist monks in order to how to turn off the noise in my head and learn how to do meditation. Everybody asks me that actually, okay, what is meditation? Meditation is not like, we have to sit down and, just like sit and be still. No, you can meditate while you're chewing, while you're running, while you're cooking, and that some sort. It's about taking time out of your busy day and just for 15 minutes, 10 minutes even, and just go inward and take a journey inside yourself and acknowledge about what you have today, what I accomplished, where I want to be, how do I want to get there. It's like being on the 10-minute vacation, because a lot of people don't have this luxury to go on vacation and recharge.
Right.
Like for a month, 2 weeks or so. So if we decide to do it, like 10, 15 minutes a day and give that chance to ourselves, believe me, it works magically for everybody. How I started, it was like to get a meditation. It first and foremost was I couldn't sit still. It's being in non-existence level and just being calm and not being able to think about other things. So my guru used to put me in a strap jacket and would leave me hours in a dark room and would tell me, you get used to it and train your brain to shut off the noise that it is.
Oh.
And I tell you, it was probably after maybe 6-7 sessions, I had no other choice
But to sit like that.
but go through it.
Yeah.
And he said something to me that I would like to share with everybody, that we all go through pain in life. And pain is like bacteria. If we don't go through it and if we do not cure it, it only multiplies. and it's going to come back and consume ourselves, and it's going to get harder to get rid of that pain. It just accumulates. So we got to train ourselves.
And so how does one sort of deal with that pain? Is it through acceptance, and how does one accept?
Well, you always have to face the fire that is in front of you. And you face it as if you are going through it, and believing in it that, this is, because the world is infinite. There's always a tomorrow.
Correct.
Nothing lasts forever.
It's always changing. Yeah.
It's always changing. So if you have that belief system and you continue living like that every day, because there are no guarantees if we wake up in the morning or not.
True.
So when you are in that state of mind, and I really think that's spirituality. There's no other way. It's not like, I believe in this, I believe in that. We are all come from God. We are all part of God. You can call it God, or you can call it the creator or universe. A lot of, because I'm sure a lot of people with different religions are watching this. So we all come from a source, and we are that source.
Right.
What happens to you happens through you. Your thoughts, you manifest your thoughts, and your thoughts become things. So if you decide to wake up angry, your whole day is angry. If you decide to be happy, no matter what, if there's a flood or fire or something, as long as you thank your organs on functioning and well, your life it's changed. Now going back to how you meditate. Meditation is not about, unless you're manifesting something while you're meditating, then you focus on that. But meditation is self-awareness, I think. As I remember my teacher taught me this, that, whether you're having breakfast at 10 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, you're breaking a fast. So at that moment in time, if you just take time and while you're eating, just be aware of what the neutral things that you're putting in your body.
Yeah.
And I'm nourishing myself with good food, and I chew it well, and I'm not in a hurry. Oh my God, I'm late. Okay, I grab a coffee, a croissant, I run out the door. You give yourself that time.
Right.
That is meditation by itself.
Yeah. You're so right, because I remember when I went through my experience of meditation a little bit, for me it was all about being an observer of things around me. And I realized the more I became silenced internally, my ability to observe became much more sharper.
Yes.
So one particular instant comes to my mind is when I was going through my Vipassana. I remember on the 5th or the 6th day, when I used to go for my meal, all of a sudden, it used to be a sattvic meal, which is a very plain, simple vegetarian meal. But that meal started tasting so much nicer because every bite of it, I was amazed by it. Like I could literally smell and taste much more than I did on day one. And that goes to your point of what you're saying is like silencing inside your ability to connect with self and being an observer of things around you. Wonderful.
There's a well-known thing is silence is golden.
Silence is golden. And I also think silence has a lot of answers.
Yes.
Sometimes we look for answers outside, but I think that the more silent you become, the easier it becomes for you to get answers to the most complex things in your life. And
That's
for
true.
me, I have actually discovered a lot of answers internally than externally. But tell me this, that when you talk about meditation, and a lot of people practice meditation, but for those who don't, this change is a very hard one to adapt to, right? So like, how does one start the process in a smaller way and sort of build on it? What did you do?
First, it's about being still. Let the universe do things for you instead of you being the doer. It's being a state of non-existence. You have to give yourself even 5 minutes of the day that you just sit still, turn off your phone, turn off the noise around you. And even if you're in the noisiest place that there is, the meditation comes from inner world. and you connect your mind and your heart together, and you try to balance it.
Right.
And once you do that, you just get used to it. It comes by itself.
But it's probably a lot to do in order for us to sort of sustain that. It's probably a lot to do with people you surround yourself with, practices on a daily basis. But because for somebody who's not doing, like for somebody like you, who's practiced it so much, it's one thing. But let's say somebody who's never done it, for him or her to jump into that, how do you think it'll be difficult?
I would say, get don't even read a book, get Kindle while you're driving.
Okay.
Start listening to, some kind of a spirituality book, self-awareness book. That is by itself, it's meditation.
That's a good starting point.
Yeah. It gets you to the next level.
Yes.
And you say, okay, this is making sense to me. And, I want to make that change. Because if accepting to meditate and accepting that, okay, and like how I call it is turning on your GPS. Okay, we all have a brain which we use it as a GPS. You give it a destination, and we know that we're going to get there.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, true.
and it's fate that takes us to our destination. Fate that takes us to our destiny. And we will have faith that while we're driving down this busy highway, there is an exit that will take us to our destination.
True. Yeah.
And that is where the purpose comes in.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different purpose in life. And many different purposes. I really believe that. And like right here, right now, this is our purpose. We're having this conversation.
Yeah.
And it's going with the flow. And because if you are in a spiritual level,
sure,
your purpose is to be in now. That is, I think, it has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with practice of meditation.
Sure.
The meditation and the self-confidence and forgiveness and humor and humility takes you into living in now. And that's what we all live for, in a place of detachment. That here we are, and okay, I have no guarantees, but I have hope and faith for the future.
Sure.
And this is where I have to go, and this is where how it has to be.
Interesting.
And we meditate on that.
It's interesting what you say, because for me, all my life, when I had to think about the word purpose, I've looked at it in two different ways. That we all actually, I would like to believe, have two parallel purposes. One, which is skill driven, which is outer world driven. So which could be something we are creating, we are building, a business we do, or a profession that we are a part of, and how good we are to make a change in that particularly. The second one, which a lot of people perhaps don't focus on as much, is an internal purpose of understanding self, of who you are, connecting with the inner world, kind of like what you were talking about. And that is the spiritual path of surrounding yourself with the right kind of people, silence, meditation. And I've found in my life that once you start traveling both internally and externally, skill-based and also self-based, then combining the two together, which is your skill, and once you understand who you are, if you can bring that together, that's a combined purpose. So let's say when I run my school today, earlier on it was just, let's say, numbers, performance, turnover. But once I started traveling inward, I started actually adding different value to it. I was like, how many youngsters' life can I actually motivate and change? And that came more for me going inward than outward. If I was just outward driven, I would have still ran a business, but I would have had less meaning in it. So I just want to get your perspective on the outer and the inner world from a purpose perspective. How do you see that?
Our purpose generally is self-love, I think. Because we came from a creator, and a lot of people worship something. And I think if we start worshiping ourselves and we're good to ourselves, there will be no hate, there will be no jealousy, there will be no wars.
And whatever we do will be nice and graceful.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And we are always in a state of gratitude.
Sure.
That's the most important thing. And we have to be able to forgive ourselves.
Yeah. Absolutely.
and be able to laugh about it. Because we make so many things, even when we drive down the freeway or something, or we go down the wrong street, we just we blame ourselves for everything.
True.
Why did I do this? I mean, we literally, our whole day changes, our mood changes when somebody cuts in front of us. And I didn't do it, somebody else did it, but we start getting angry because of him. We have nothing to do with him. He's an idiot, or it's pardon my French. But you are the wise person. Sit back. This is where the state of, non-existence, non-emotion comes in.
Yeah.
And that's when the meditation comes in. You train your brain not to be reactive to different things.
Sure.
And
And self-love, like you said, it's not just about self-pampering or buying stuff for yourself, but really being self-forgiving, being grateful for who you are and what you bring to the world, and also appreciating your own presence and your own body at times. I feel and we were talking about that 2 days ago. A lot of people don't take care of themselves and they worry about the world.
Exactly.
And it's so fundamental that you need to sort of take care of yourself first, right? And then you look at what you can sort of do for others, including your family.
Hey, you have to become exemplary.
Yeah.
Look how, I always said, look how they treat themselves. That's exactly how they're going to treat you.
Correct. Yeah.
And if they have that understanding and that compassion towards themselves,
Yes.
that's exactly what you're going to get. If you see somebody lying to themselves, trust me, they're going to lie to you all the way, all the time.
Yeah.
So it has to go hand in hand, all of these things. And I really believe in that self-love comes from confidence. Having faith.
Yes.
If you don't have confidence in yourself and your own belief, whether you're right or wrong, you have to have that confidence.
Yeah.
That, the world is infinite. And if not today, there's always a tomorrow.
Yeah.
And things change.
I always look at, and this is something I read in, I think, one of Eckhart Tolle's books.
Okay.
That a great example of self-love is when you see a cat and dog living their life, because they don't have judgment. And so therefore, whether they're ugly or beautiful, they are still wagging their tails. They are still getting up happy and running around. If they can't climb something, they don't brood about it. If they get old, they don't complain about it, because they don't have that function that human beings have, which is our ability to contextualize things intellectually, and that is where your sense of ego steps up very sharply. That why am I looking this way? Why am I not looking that way? Why am I getting old? Why am I not young enough? But if you look at animals, they're very, very
they're carefree.
They're carefree.
It's like a little child.
Yeah, and so that's a great example of self-love when you see them running around, not caring about the world.
And you know what? I know people who have dogs and cats, and they spend more on their pets than they spend on themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
Literally.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
And this is how and this is how we should be. We have to be like that to ourselves first.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, we started by talking about meditation, and we moved into we mentioned a little bit about gratitude and self-love. But I think in today's world, as you see it, and you travel a lot, right? You're traveling all the time. And you're traveling both East, Middle East, and perhaps West. You live in the West. So, what do you see? What are the common things you see that people suffer from? Is it change?
Change.
Yeah.
Change.
Is it
because I think they're
acceptance? What is it?
No, it's change. I think they decide to change, but they're more focused to the end result than to trying to implement that change.
Got it.
It's very I'm going to change because this is going to happen. And when the change doesn't happen, when they're trying while they want it to happen instantly, probably. And they don't. I think anytime you want to change, you have to give it a certain time. And if you are helping to change someone, you have to put yourself in their shoes in order to understand what they're going through and why they want to change.
Yeah.
In any matters of life. So and when you want to change yourself, First of all, you have to be honest to yourself. First of all, it comes from self-love.
Yeah.
When you love yourself and I don't want to be bad to myself anymore, that's the number one change. And that's the very first step in order to take forward in life, in order to be a good human being.
Right.
When I'm good to myself, I'm good to the world.
Yeah.
But a lot of people might come and say, well, I do so much, but there's so much cruelty, there's so much, I still have problems and this and that. And they think if this changes, it's going to solve and resolve all the other problems that they have.
Yeah. But it
Which
doesn't.
is the meaning of the insanity of doing the same exact thing in a different result. Because as the Buddha said, life is suffering. We just shouldn't make our own suffering. Let life give us that suffering so we go through it.
Yeah.
And we sit and we dissect all our problems. It's like, and everybody expecting, oh, poor me, sad me.
Self-pity.
Self-pity. Everybody lives on the self-pity. I didn't.
Yeah.
I think anything that happens to you in your life, anything that happens, you inflict it upon yourself. It happens through yourself. Any good or bad relationship, any good or bad investment, and even if you do it, you got to forgive yourself because you've done it. There's a lesson in it.
Yeah, and you can't do anything about it.
Exactly. So. And if you haven't learned your lesson, you will go so much through it.
Yes.
And if it's not this little lifetime, you'll come back again and redo it and do it and do it until you learn that lesson.
True. Absolutely true. But let's say for somebody making that change, I've seen this in my own life. Like I had practiced a few things. Like for example, you need to have a habit of surrounding yourself with like-minded people. If I want to change in a particular direction, people who believe in that changed world, so their vibrations are very different compared to other people. You need to be able to read and become knowledgeable, self-oriented. Because sometimes what happens is if you don't have self-awareness, and self-awareness is not just somebody telling you become self-aware. Self-awareness is also about in Upanishads and in the Vedanta they talk about 3 stages, which is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, which means listening to a master, somebody who is better evolved than you, reflecting on that, and then sort of meditating on that. So when you go through this process of listening, reflecting, and meditation, the output is wisdom, and that's when you start changing. So, and I've seen that a combination of surrounding yourself with the right kind of people, reading sometimes and spending some time, and habits as well, like getting up in the morning, doing your me time, and then going to work. A combination of these 3 things helps you change.
That's true.
In your experience, when you have maybe gone through a change in your life, how have you dealt with it and how have you done it?
I'm very, very, I made a conscious decision to change. And because I do life coaching, and when somebody comes and, talks about their life story and, they try to sit there and try to make me believe what they're telling me.
Yeah.
That their story has some validation and one ask, attention or pity, I just say, okay, are you done? So let's start. The thing is that the very first thing I tell them, listen, you're wearing a tight shoes with a nail in it. How long do you think you can walk in it before you decide to change it?
Yeah, and change it, yeah.
And it's like this. You have to recognize yourself that I'm willing to change. There's nobody, even the greatest scholars, even they brainwash you or something, okay? If you do not believe in it 100%, you can never change.
Wow, okay.
And I really believe anybody can change, even a stone changes in due time.
True.
So we all have that option to do it today, than to do it the next day.
Right.
If you are not happy where you are in life, as I said,
we just have to be determined.
Yes, turn on your GPS. Give it a goal.
Got it. Yeah.
I would say make an appointment with yourself and on your calendar. Like if you want to move, okay, just say I'm calling the movers, and I don't know, to like pick a date, your favorite date, and put it in your calendar. Seal it.
Yeah.
So you're giving.
I'm not doing this, or I'm doing this from this date.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
I heard something that it was very amazing. I want to share it with somebody. This rabbi was teaching some people that but that they want to get married, and they said pick your wedding date, and write it in your calendar, and when you go on the date, like let's say you put on your calendar July 4th, I'm getting married.
Sure.
Ask the other guy, what are you doing on July 4th? See how far is his perspective.
Yeah.
What kind of a vibration do you get from that? It's like take that level of consciousness in a high level. So he's going to wonder, okay, why is she asking me this? What is that? It's supposed to mean. So you're establishing that connection.
Sure.
And if he thinks you're right out crazy, okay, and then if he comes and asks you why, what are you doing on July 4th?
Right.
You should say I'm getting married. And see what his reaction is. If he's like, okay, I might be getting married too, then he's the right person for you.
Got it.
And this goes with everything in life.
True.
You have to you have to make an appointment with the universe.
And you need to be very focused about it.
You need to be very...
But I think a lot of people, grapple with the fact that they don't know where they're traveling. Like in the sense, when you
They're ignorant, I think.
Yeah, I genuinely believe so. They are probably looking at the other people and determining where to go rather than looking at themselves and making a conscious choice.
Yes.
That I want to be this in this life, right? Yeah. I mean, because otherwise, why would you not do it? If you are so clear about, like you were clear that you chose
It's about
a path.
control. They try to control their lives, and they try to control other people, thinking that they have that intelligence, but they don't have that determination.
Yeah.
And that it's brilliant to be smart, but smart always outsmarts itself.
True.
At some point in life.
Yeah.
So
right.
You gotta.
And also, I think, and I remember you telling me this the first time we met. Which was like 4 years ago now. I remember giving me that example of perspective, right? So when you are standing on an edge versus on a higher level, your visibility is limited based on how you are in your vibration level, right? And so the higher you go, the more perspective you have. The lower you are, the limited perspective you have. And I think people sometimes, because of the limited perspective, they're not able to look at changing themselves because they don't know what their potential is. Because they could be able to achieve a lot more than where they are today in their life.
Definitely. I think because we come from a source, we all have that energy and that's brilliancy from the source. And I think as human beings, we only use 3% of our brain. If we just notch it up to 4% and live in a higher consciousness, I think we see the world in a different level and we see things so clearly and by our third eye that it's life-changing not only for ourselves but for everybody. See, in the third world countries, I think they try to control people in order to make people not to grow. They're afraid of change and they're afraid of growth.
Right.
And in schools, unfortunately nowadays, they're not teaching mindfulness to anybody.
Yeah, true.
And I think if you send your kids to school 5-6 hours, 4 hours of it has to go to mindfulness. And that will open up the whole door. It's like it opens up the world to the journey of life.
Yeah.
If have you seen Elon Musk? How he's with his ex, with his little boy
jumping around his head.
That is what life is supposed to be. Is this total attention and teaching.
Yeah.
And believe me, I'm sure there's an Elon Musk in all of us. We just got to tap into it.
True.
Instead of being, just like knocking on every different door and trying to find why.
True.
instead of focusing why not.
Absolutely. And I think, and that is what life is all about, is finding that self within self, and sort of going to your potential. And I think, in my experience as well, that people, I've met are not sure about what they want, and also they are not sure about how to get it as a combination. But some of these people I've met who are not sure are extremely successful. So if you look at their wealth or their business, it is no comparison to where their self journey is. So I guess they're very, very disconnected. There could be somebody coming from a lot of wealth, or in terms of success, which is very skill based, but completely lost at the same time. Which is why you will see a lot of people who are billionaires. They are fundamentally very disconnected. They leave everything and then go to an ashram. Steve Jobs did that when he was successful, and Mark Zuckerberg tried to do that with India. And even this time in the Kumbh Mela, you had, I think, Steve Jobs' wife who came. So people who are billionaires, but I think after achieving everything that they thought intellectually was, success, they are again starting from zero on the journey of finding out self, right? And I'm sure you would have met such people as well in your life.
Yes. But I tell you, a lot of people spend time accumulating wealth and things. Okay, and I really believe in every zero in front of that one. No matter 9, 10, 11, 12, or how many zeros it is, it's still a zero.
Yeah.
If you are not whole, because nobody takes it with them, and.
But why do you think people keep running after that then?
Because they have no other happiness in the world that they think that makes them happy.
But here's the thing about, and you used a very important word, happiness. I believe happiness and love, what we are talking about today, or self-love, is who you are at the core. That's our essence, right?
Right.
So it's not something to be achieved, it's who we are.
Yeah.
Once we become self-aware, that's the byproduct, isn't it?
Well, see, the thing is, when they're not happy, it's like they don't love themselves. So they try to mask their life with other things. And they try to control or put down other people to make themselves feel better and look better.
So they're going after these pleasures for life, right?
Yeah. There's a saying that says you can't buy love, but you can rent it.
Yeah.
So they think, I'm rich, I can have a hot girl, I can have the car and everything.
Or a private jet or whatever,
Exactly, but we all came alone, we all go alone, and the very last piece of clothing that you wear doesn't have any pockets. So you're not going to take anything with you. But if you live in the moment and you are sharing, and I've come to this, it's unbelievable. It's the more I help, the more I give, the more I get.
Of course.
It's like
Newton's third law.
It's in every aspect, whether it be love, money, time, attention.
Absolutely.
It's literally, it's non-stop.
And I've experienced the same. It's the same exact. It is how life works. And that's also law of karma, right? So the more you give is the more you get. The more you try to take, the more you end up giving in life. And I think that's where people are stuck, because they don't want to start with giving. They want to start with taking.
Yeah, and see, it's like it's pouring a cup of tea. There's so much limit that you can fill the cup with. If not, it overflows.
Right.
And you get, it overflows so much that you get drowned in it.
Yeah, true.
And you lose your purpose.
Yes. True.
You talked about Steve Jobs. He was one of the richest men in the whole world. He worked so hard, he got cancer and died.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have, you would have asked him, are you willing to give up your whole life?
Yeah.
You give up your whole wealth to live 2 days longer, he would say, okay.
Yeah.
At that stage and time and situation.
Yeah.
So, it's a matter of understanding who you are and what you want in life, to have that set of goals. But your body is a body of worship. As long as you love yourself and you're living in now and your purpose, and you take every moment and have grace and have gratitude in that moment, and have faith that there is a tomorrow. Even if you die tomorrow, you'll probably have faith you'll come back again, because the universe is infinite.
Yeah,
and it just comes back and you get recycled.
Yeah, and in fact, if you are part of divinity, you never die. You just evolve.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that's a perspective, but if you believe in it, you're actually immortal. You know?
Yes,
And I think a lot of people live believing that as well. Now, Desiree, what I want to understand, we spoke so much in terms of meditation, self-love, gratitude, focus, change. Let's bring all of this in the context of relationships, because when you are in a marriage, when you're in a partnership at home, and sometimes you are lucky, sometimes you're not. You get different people coming with different backgrounds and experiences. How does one balance that in a relationship? And as per you, and you've coached a lot of people in your life, how do you sort of look at that?
Okay.
With aspects
the
of what
word
we discussed?
relationship, okay, it's relation in a ship. So being in the same ship and going through a journey together, first and foremost. So we're all in the same ship together, whichever journey, whatever journey we are taking. As far as love goes, I think the basis of foundations of love is compromise and compassion. If you have compassion and understanding and compromise with yourself and self-love, you're going to love your partner. If you don't lie to yourself, if you have that understanding, and most of all, respect. Learn how to communicate with each other. Learn, always try to put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Yeah.
You don't know what kind of a day they had. You don't, no matter how long you live with the person, you will never know the core of them.
That's true.
So we are all engineered differently. We all have a different DNA. That is our trademark, and nobody.
And that is also our beauty.
Yeah.
That's also our beauty.
So we have to, be in that stage of mind to recognize, okay, where does this person come from, and how I can compromise with the good and bad, and not try to control it. Because a lot of relationships, people try to control it. I say yes, you say no. Yeah. So, and one thing.
And is that why
another.
you see them sort of not keep it together?
Yes.
Because they want to control. They want to sort of
I
impose.
say exactly. It's like they're all madly in love with each other until they go under the same roof.
Yeah.
And expectations coming. If you love me, you would do this for me. So therefore, if you're not doing it, therefore you didn't love me.
And so much of it is mind created. It's living in your head.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oftentimes they don't even communicate the expectation to the other person.
Yeah.
So it's all in the head.
Yes.
And then they start battling with it themselves as well.
It's childish game.
Yeah.
And it comes from lack of attention and lack of self-confidence.
True.
This is, if you bring everything down into a bowl and mix everything up, I think that the top purpose, the surface, the cream that you get on top, it says confidence. If you have confidence in this world, you can achieve anything that there is.
Correct.
That's it. Because we are part of God. We have that ability. You don't need to have a PhD or anything. I mean, you can even be your own doctor. You yourself know what is wrong with you.
Right.
And you know what makes you better, what makes you worse.
That's
that's you being a homeopathic doctor.
Yeah.
So you have to listen to your gut brain, I call it.
Yeah.
Your gut has a brain, and when you feel something in your gut feeling, that's the brain of the
believe
gut.
In it and sort of
believe
live
in
with
it, and it's telling you
something.
Yeah.
I always say that good relationship is not sitting opposite each other, thinking what I can take from the other person, but sitting next to each other, where the journeys are very parallel and independent, but you travel it together with compassion, with gratitude,
you
and
learn from each other every day.
Yeah. And you learn from each other throughout the journey.
I think in the old days, I don't think any of our parents were in love when they got married. It was arranged marriages. And why is like, you hear like the marriages are lasting 50, 60, 70 years. Okay? It's because they learned about each other.
Right.
They learned to grow with each other. And it's a journey. They went like the good and bad, they faced it.
Amazing.
Now in this modern time,
It's
it's
very
like,
different.
yeah, I've seen couples that they are sitting at a table and text each other.
Wow. Yeah. They're not even together.
They're not even together, and it's I don't know what's the whole purpose.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, we are going forward with the with AI and all of these things, and things are changing, but love doesn't change.
It doesn't change.
I don't think a robot can have that human love
Yeah.
that we have, that compassion that we have.
Absolutely. So, when we were discussing right now about relationships, those who want to get into a relationship, those who are probably wanting to get married, find a partner, what do you have to say to them when they are looking to sort of build something happily ever after together? What's your sort of suggestion or recommendation for them?
Well, I'm not married.
Yeah.
And whoever is married right now has been telling me, oh, don't ever get fooled and get married.
Okay.
But I think that's foolish too.
Okay.
From my perspective of life, that from people that I have worked with and I have seen my friends in a relationship, life is about compromise. If there's no compromise and no trust and lack of communication,
Okay.
everything collapses. Again, we come back to humor. You have to be able to forgive your partner,
Yeah.
to laugh at their jokes, even if they're not funny, not try to correct them,
Yeah.
but to accept their faults
Yeah.
and not try to change anything
Yeah.
and just be.
Yeah.
And all of this comes, again, we come back to self-love.
Yeah.
If you are good to yourself, you will be good to them too. See how, how you treat yourself, that's exactly how you're going to treat the other human being as well, especially in love.
Right.
And I think we were talking about, should I listen to my head or should I listen to my heart?
Yeah.
And a lot of times our mind dictates to our hearts how to feel. But our heart gives us courage
Yeah.
to go forward in life.
Yeah.
And without courage, we cannot be anything.
Yeah.
And getting into a relationship, it needs a lot of courage.
True.
To be able to live under the same roof
Yeah.
with another human being and to accept them and just try to be with them. It's a whole process. It's one of the hardest process. I think it's even harder than learning English.
Yeah, because you just
you
are
just
coming
don't-
from a different background.
Yeah, everybody's
Upbringing,
in
yeah.
love. Everybody's in love before they get married,
Yeah.
until they go under the same roof, and then everybody shows their true selves. But if they, I don't know, maybe they live with each other before they get married,
Yeah,
so they
probably
can
better.
adopt. Yeah, they can adopt to each
And I
other.
think a lot of current generation people are doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And there's a fine line between love and hate and lust. A lot of people are in lust and they think they're in love. They come to idolize something about it's the smell, the way they look, the way they talk, or the
Maybe even the personality of somebody.
Nowadays it's material stuff.
Yeah, it's very material, external.
Yeah, they do not fall in love with the human being inside.
Yeah.
That whether this person is a good person or a bad person. If somebody is angry, is always be angry unless they're willing to admit to their own fault.
Yeah.
And you go into a relationship telling yourself, "Oh, I'm going to change him. I'm going to change his clothes."
Yeah.
But you can change somebody's name, give him a new identity, but the DNA and the genealogy will be the same thing as the day one they were born. So my advice to people, I would say, is to first love yourself, learn what real love is, where you come from, who you are, where you want to go. And when you find that person, see what their goals are. If you are headed to the same destination as you are headed, and don't try to divert them or change them, because that's when the friction comes in.
And even if the destinations are different, you can still be a companion.
Exactly.
And help them,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We always look for a soul mate, and a mate is somebody who accompanies you
Correct.
and has already accompanied you for many years.
Many years.
And you come to them, and we can have many, many soulmates.
So we always have this entanglement, right? I mean, we were talking about that as well, even as friends.
Yes.
You know, you live in LA, and I travel on this part of the world. But like once you become friends or in a relationship as well, you get entangled. So you kind of sort of pick up right where you left.
Exactly.
And you don't feel disconnected because we're all entangled and we meet for a purpose.
Yeah, because I think people who come like that in your life, you live in the same vibration and the same consciousness about the world, and you have the same vision.
Yeah.
So it's like you see this, the end result it's the same.
It's the same.
For, you know, and
they keep coming back to your life again and again.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
True.
So,
I've seen that happen so many times in my life as well. That people, the way I met you, the way I met Shriji, the way I met a lot of my friends here and in India, are just pure circumstantial. You know, I guess they were meant to be in my life in some way or the other.
And there are people who come in your life for a short period of time, and they're the very instruments to bring you to where you are supposed to be and who you're supposed to be with. I mean, both of us has experienced that. You know, they're like, somebody introduces somebody and boom, they disappear. You might see them 10 years from now, or you might never even hear from them anymore.
So is that like an angel coming and sort of introducing you, or how does one look at that? Like, and it's happened with me a lot, where people have connected me with people and they don't exist.
I believe that they had to karmically, they had a purpose in order to serve you. So I think they're put in a position that at this moment in time, okay, here I am, I can do this person some good, so let me connect them to this person. Unknowingly that the person who connected both of us together, he or she didn't had any idea that maybe we had some karmic ties in our past lives. And
so they become a medium, sort of.
Yes, it's a very instrument that
But
brings...
tell me this, that's really it's interesting. But as one travels higher and higher in vibration, self-awareness, do you always find, or will you keep finding such people who will connect you with people who are perhaps more evolved, more traveled, so that you can continue that journey as long as you're committed and serious about it?
Well, I say we go to School of Life every day, and, and the universe and the people in it are the other students that you meet, and you learn from them. And I learn something from you, you learn something from me.
That's the beauty of life.
I tell you, I going back and forth in Dubai, talking to all the taxi drivers, I've literally learned many things from them.
Yeah, true.
And it doesn't have to be about spirituality, about knowledge.
Yeah, pure knowledge.
Knowledge, pure knowledge. And, and just acknowledging that there are so many different things out there that and admitting that I never knew. And be open to change and be open to learning. That's all it is.
And when you see even your friends and strangers navigate different challenges in their life, that's also a learning, right? So you're sort of observing how somebody else is tackling something in their life.
And you either try to come in and help them, or by their own pain, you can help yourself too, by sitting and talking to them and trying to guide them in the middle of conversation. Boom, you're hit with an idea, and something gets solved and resolved for you personally. And that you feel that contentment.
You feel that contentment.
Yeah.
I think so. Let's as we are moving towards the close of our conversation, and I know you and I can talk for hours, and we have done that before.
Yes.
I think the last kind of topic, so to speak, I want to talk about is karma, and I want to ask you that how does karma come into all of this? When you look at where a person is born, when you look at self-love, and when you look at people who go through this transformation and change, is all of it karmic, or part of it is self-created? Perhaps a combination of both, I feel like. But what's your perspective on karma? Do you believe in the laws of karma? Do you believe in that everything happens for a reason, circumstantially? What's your perspective on karma?
I believe in karma 100%.
Yeah.
And I really believe in that whoever comes into our lives it has some karmic connection to us. As I was telling you the other day, that when we shake somebody's hand, your hand is giving. It's for forgiving, and they come into our lives either asking for forgiveness or us asking for forgiveness from them.
Yeah.
And we don't pick our parents. I mean, we pick our parents. They don't pick us.
True.
And by that you can either make it's like we always blame our parents that they're making our life hell for us, but I think
we could be doing that for them.
We could be doing that for them, you know. And there's a lesson to be learned. You've gone through it, and you say,
I know it's a kind of surreal and strange that I'm having this conversation with you today as I sort of complete 41 years of my surgery.
Oh, wow.
And I think, to be honest, for me, of course, a lot of gratitude for parents, but I also had to travel my journey and sort of come to terms with it and sort of circumvent that. And I think when you talk about self-love, and I was reflecting and I was connecting a lot of dots in my head to say, yes, a lot of it is about self-healing, self-appreciation, having gratitude for the fact that I'm still around. And because, we never know. Any day could be your last day.
Exactly.
Any moment could be your last moment. And only if we lived like that, we would live a much more fuller life, I think.
I think the problem with parents nowadays is that they think they can love you better than you love yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of teaching you how to love yourself.
That's true.
And it's very wrong. Instead of, giving you encouragement, giving you courage, pushing you out into the world, and not let you be shielded. But sit in the back and, just watch over you.
Watch over,
And not just be watchful of your boundaries and all that. I think the world would have completely be a different place. Our upbringing is from, because every single parent that I know, of course, they love their kids more than anything else, but they think they love you more than you love yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. It's like, you're doing this, you're drinking, you're doing drugs, you don't sleep. Okay, why don't you teach them self-love first from childhood to nourish themselves? If you smoke a cigarette, the chances of getting lung cancer is very high as you get older.
Correct.
I might not be around to take care of you, so you better start taking care of yourself now. It's all basic ABC.
Yeah. But I think the parents are very driven with the fact that they perhaps want to be a perfect parent. And I think it's an self-expectation which imposes, and they look at it as love, but I don't know whether it's love to the way that we are talking about love, because I feel that parents become over strict, over possessive, because if they go wrong, they might feel that it was me as a mom, as a dad who could not do their duty. Sometimes parents exude love or exude a particular relation towards the kids to be perfect in themselves as well. Like a lot of times you'll see in India, at least I see this, when a parent has limitations growing up, they impose the same thing on their child. Make sure you do this. So it is them fulfilling their desires, their fears from the next generation. Whereas when you look at pure love, it's about self-discovery. Find out who you are, love yourself, spend time with yourself. Very different process though.
Yeah, it's like when you want to teach your kid how to swim, you throw him in the pool and they
figure it out.
They go up and down so much, they start flapping their hands and feet until they learn. Yeah. And if you see him drowning, you jump in and you pull him out. Yeah. But you give them that chance to swim.
Yeah. And I think it's a very important parenting thing. And although I do think some bit of that is changing in today's world, and I think the parents are giving that space. And also I think the next generation or the young generation today is very self-intuitive, self-aware as well compared to my time growing up. Also, they have a lot more access to knowledge and content, than what we had before. All right. So I think as we are tapering our conversation, I think Desiree, just quickly in the last minute or so, what's your main message to everybody that to the audience, let's say? What would you want to leave behind as a message on Valentine's Day for everybody?
First and foremost, love yourself. Be good to yourself. Spoil yourself. Don't wait for somebody else to spoil you.
Yeah.
You were born alone. You will die alone. You will never take anything with you in this world.
Yeah.
You try to live in a world of detachment because nothing belongs to you.
Yeah.
Your soul moves on, and just take it easy in life.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. You're here 1 minute and not here the second.
Yeah.
You know, you could have millions of dollars and know to the penny how much you have in the bank. But nobody knows how many more days you have, how many more summers are left.
Right.
To
So
enjoy
live to
it.
the fullest.
Live to the fullest in which is the spirituality is living in now.
Yeah. Living in the moment.
Yeah, living in the moment. And if you, if you have the money, enjoy it. If you don't have the money, you can, enjoy yourself too.
Yeah.
Money has nothing to do with it, I think.
Right.
It helps, but it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I want to wish everybody life full of love. And Valentine's Day is every day.
Yeah.
You should celebrate love every
Not
day,
just
not
one
just
day.
not just one day. And go buy yourself flowers today and beautiful gifts, and just gift yourself.
Amazing. Awesome.
That's all you have to wish.
So, friends, as we end this conversation, I also want to leave with two messages. One is, like Desiree mentioned, have fun, enjoy life, live to the fullest. You never know how much time we all have. So make it special. And second, have friends like her in your life.
Thank you.
So you can sit and have conversations. These are conversations that me and her have on a regular basis. This is not
Over
just
tea.
a podcast over tea and coffee. So have people like her around your life so that your life can become more meaningful. Thank you, and God bless, and happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Thank you.